The truth about stereotypes, what I discovered while traveling. Have you ever thought about how much stereotypes dictate the way we see the world? Whether it's believing certain countries are more welcoming than others or expecting specific behaviors from an entire culture, stereotypes often shape our perceptions before we even step foot into a destination. But what if most of these preconceived notions were completely wrong? In this video, I'll share some surprising truths I've learned through travel and how breaking these stereotypes has not only changed how I see the world, but how I understand myself. Let's start with the basics. A stereotype is essentially a generalized belief about a particular group of people. It's a mental shortcut designed to simplify the complexity of the world. While this may seem harmless at first glance, stereotypes often oversimplify and misrepresent cultures, creating barriers to genuine understanding. For example, how many of us have heard that the French are always aloof, or that all Germans are overly serious? These ideas might stem from historical perceptions, media portrayals, or limited personal interactions, but they end up creating a biased framework in our minds. And this matters, particularly when traveling, because a stereotype can stop us from experiencing the richness of a culture. Instead of exploration, we might subconsciously look for confirmation of what we already believe. Travel allows us to challenge these assumptions firsthand, breaking down the walls that stereotypes build. By engaging directly with people, cultures, and traditions, we can replace those biases with real understanding. When traveling, you don't just visit new places, you meet new people, immerse yourself in unfamiliar customs, and discover the everyday lives that make each culture unique. What often happens is that travel unknowingly disrupts our tendency to stereotype. Each encounter, conversation, or shared moment reveals a truth more profound than any generalization. Personally, I've learned that the stereotypes I once believed often crumbled as soon as I interacted with locals. In many cases, the exact opposite of a cultural cliché was true. Let me share some of the most eye-opening moments that taught me this lesson. During one of my first trips to a major European city, I braced myself for what I'd heard was an unwelcoming and rude atmosphere. Stories online painted locals as uninterested in tourists or outright dismissive. Yet, when I was lost in the middle of a crowded district, visibly confused about directions, a kind stranger noticed my struggle. Not only did they guide me to my destination, but they also offered recommendations for hidden gems in the city. I never expected such hospitality, and their warmth completely contradicted what I had expected. This incident taught me that assumptions based on stereotypes can limit your ability to connect with people. More often than not, people are deeply kind when approached with respect and humility. Another memorable experience happened in a country known for its lively and high-energy nightlife. Based on the stereotype, I imagined everyone there would have a party-first, work-later mentality. In reality, when I stayed in a smaller town, I found the pace of life to be slow and relaxed, with locals enjoying their coffee for hours while chatting about family and daily life. The stereotype of vibrancy certainly existed, but so did an equally fulfilling, quieter side of the culture, which rarely gets noticed. This taught me an important lesson. Cultures are complex. No one stereotype can account for all the nuances and layers that make a country or its people unique. In a different part of the world, I was prepared for strict formality and little flexibility when dealing with locals. Yet, while attending a festival, I discovered a sense of humor, warmth, and spontaneity among people that made me feel incredibly at ease. Moments of shared laughter bridged any cultural gap, dispelling the rigid, rule-bound stereotype I had assumed about the culture. These deeply human connections reminded me that stereotypes not only inaccurately define others, but also rob us of the chance to discover shared traits that unite us as people. Now you might wonder, why are stereotypes so common if they're so often wrong? Stereotypes thrive because they oversimplify a complex reality, offering our brains convenient narratives. They are often fueled by selective stories in media or history where a single characteristic is exaggerated to represent an entire culture. For example, a TV show might highlight one personality type in a country to establish a sense of familiarity for international audiences. Over time, this portrayal may become synonymous with an entire nation. But when we travel, we can see through these flattened narratives. We begin to notice how inconsistent these generalizations are, often rooted in limited or outdated perspectives. So what happens when you challenge stereotypes? The short answer, your entire perception of the world expands. Travel teaches you to replace surface-level judgments with curiosity. Each new destination becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and forge genuine connections. One of the most transformative aspects of breaking stereotypes is how it fosters empathy. Instead of approaching someone with preconceived notions, you start to engage with genuine interest in their story. You learn about their values, traditions, and everyday lives, which are often astonishingly different and much richer than what stereotypes suggest. Challenging stereotypes also helps you build lasting connections. When locals sense that you see them as individuals, rather than as a summary of their culture's cliches, they're more likely to open up and share their world with you. This exchange of perspectives benefits both sides, building bridges of understanding that last far beyond the trip itself. Anyone can approach travel with the goal of breaking stereotypes, and here's how you can do it. Do your research, but keep an open mind. Learning about a destination before visiting is helpful, but recognize that no article or book can capture the full essence of a culture. Stay curious and allow room for surprises. Engage beyond tourist attractions. Spend time with locals, visit community spaces, and participate in everyday activities. These interactions put you closer to the heart of a place. Ask questions. Approach conversations with a desire to learn rather than a desire to confirm your assumptions. Notice everyday nuances. Rather than focusing on dramatic cultural differences, observe how people live their lives in subtle ways. It's often in these moments that stereotypes fall apart. Reflect on your own biases. Acknowledge stereotypes you may unconsciously hold and view your travels as an ongoing education. Ultimately, travel has the power to educate us far beyond what we expect. It reveals that while cultural differences exist, they don't define people. The warmth of shared laughter, the generosity of a helping hand, and the humanity in everyday life prove that there's far more that unites us than divides us. Every stereotype I've broken while traveling has shaped me into a more compassionate and mindful global citizen. It's not always easy to confront your own misconceptions, but doing so allows you to experience the world and its people more authentically. In conclusion, stereotypes are often an incomplete lens to view the world. We carry them with us unknowingly, only to realize, through travel, that they fail to capture the individual stories and nuances that make every person, every culture, extraordinary. The next time you travel, I encourage you to keep an open mind. See every trip as an opportunity to learn and grow. Seek stories, not stereotypes. And when you return, share your experiences with others. It's through these shared narratives that we can collectively challenge the biases that limit our understanding. So pack your bags, step out of your comfort zone, and prepare to discover a world far more fascinating and far more human than stereotypes could ever describe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.